In ancient Roman religion, the Salii were the leaping priests of Mars, supposed to have been introduced by King Numa Pompilius. They were 12 patrician youths, dressed as archaic warriors, an embroidered tunic, a breastplate, a short red cloak, a sword, and a spiked headdress called an apex. They were charged with the 12 bronze shields called ancīlia, which, like the Mycenaean shield, resembled a figure 8. One of those shields was said to have fallen from heaven in the reign of King Numa, and 11 copies were made to protect the identity of the sacred shield on the advice of the nymph Egeria, consort of Numa, who prophesied that wherever the shield was preserved, the people would be the dominant people of the earth. Each year in March, the Salii made a procession round the city, dancing and singing the Carmen Salii. Ovid, who relates the story of Numa and the heavenly ancīlia in his Fasti, found the hymn and the Salian rituals outdated and hard to understand. During the Principate, by decree of the Senate, Augustus's name was inserted into the song. They ended the day by banqueting. Salii became proverbial for a sumptuous feast. King Tullus Hostilius is said to have established another collegium of Salii in fulfillment of a vow which he made in the Second War with Fidenae and They. These Salii were also 12 in number, chosen from the patricians, and appear to have been dedicated to the service of Quirinus. They were called the Salii Coloni, Agonales, or Agonenses. It is unclear whether the primary aim of the ritual was to protect Rome's army, although this is the traditional view. Founder. In addition to the myth of the ancīlia, several other explanations are offered in Greek and Latin sources for the founding of the priesthood. An origin among the Etruscans is attributed to a founding by Maurus, king of They. The Salii are also given an origin in connection with Dardanus and the Samothracian Dipenates, or the Saliis, who came to Italy with Evander and in the Aeneid competed in the funeral games of Anchises. Interpretations of the rituals. Georges Dumézil interpreted the rituals of the Salii as marking the opening and the closing of the yearly war season. The opening would coincide with the day of the Agonium Martial on March 19, and the closing with the day of the Armistice on October 19. The first date was also referred to as ancīlia movere, to move the ancīlia, and the second as ancīlia condra, to store the ancīlia. Dumézil views the two groups of Salii, one representing Mars and the other Quirinus, as a dialectic relationship showing the interdependency of the military and economic functions in Roman society. Classical philologist Georg Wissoir maintained that the ritual of the Salii is a war dance or a sword dance, with their costumes clearly indicating the military origin, because the earliest Roman calendar had begun with the month of March. Hermann Usnov thought the ceremonies of the ancīlia movere were a ritual expulsion of the old year, represented by the mysterious figure of Mammarus Veturius, to make way for the new god Mars, born on March 1. On the Ides of March, a man ritually named as Mammarus Veturius was beaten with long white sticks in the Sacrum Marmuriae, in Usna's view as a form of scapegoating. Mammarus was the mythic blacksmith who forged 11 replicas of the original divine shield that had dropped from the sky. According to Usna and Ludwig Preller, Mars would be a god of war and fertility, while Mammarus Veturius would mean Old Mars. Mars is himself a dancer, and the head of the Salian dancers, patrician young men whose parents were both living. Wissoir compares the Salii with the noble youth who danced the lusus Troiae. The ritual dance of the Salii would thus be a coalescence of initiation into adulthood and war with the scapegoat ritual. Other 19th-century scholars have compared the rituals of the Salii with the Vedic myths of Indra and the Maros. ancient authors quoted by Maurus Servius Honoratus and Macrobius recorded that Salii had existed at Tibur, Tusculum and very even before the creation in Rome. Nomenclature. Numerous Salii Palatini were dedicated to Mars surnamed Gradavis, and were quartered on the Palatine Hill. Tullus Salii Collini were dedicated to Quirinus, and were quartered on the Quirinal Hill. Rosanus called them Agonens Salii. The second group of Salii may in fact have been created during an Augustan reorganization of the priesthood. Paulus ex Festo p. 10m reads, Agones dispunt montes, agonia sacrificiaque febunt in monte, hinc Romemons Quirinalis agonise Collina porta agonensis. Agones were called the mounts, agonia of the sacrifices that took place on the mounts, hence in Rome the Quirinal Mount Agonus and the Porta Collina agonensis. Salian virgins. Sextus Pompeius Festus makes the perplexing reference to Salian virgins, wearing the paludamentum and pointed apex of the Salii. These maidens were employed to assist the College of Pontiffs in carrying out sacrifices in the Regia. It has been suggested that the passage in Festus describes a transvestite initiation. An earlier explanation held that the maidens played the role of absent warriors in some form of propitiation. The meaning of the being hired is unclear.